Hi, and welcome to my channel, Train, Don't Strain with me, Mountain Jace. This channel is all about gym training the evolutionary way, which means prioritizing pure technique over cheating. That is to say, showing you exactly how to isolate a single muscle and then train it deep into the debilitation zone. This is the point at which your body has no choice but to repair a muscle in such a way that it is now stronger and fitter than before. Anything that you do that fails to reach the debilitation threshold, the body will simply lump together under the heading general maintenance. Which means when it finally gets round to repairing it, it'll only do so back to its previous state and no more. And this means, as far as climbing up the mountain to your peak fitness, you actually never even got off the ground. Now, sure, you can accept fitness mediocrity and stick with the way you've always approached your gym training sessions. The easy route always looks the most tempting to start with, but let me tell you, that way lies a whole plateau of regret as you wake up one day and realize you're now too old, too cynical, and too locked in your ways to breathe the fresh air of success that reaching the summit of anything offers. Better to return to base camp than start all over again, this time using my evolutionary approach, as I fully explain in my earlier series called Foundations of Fitness. Anyway, time is precious, so let's just jump straight in. Today, I want to show you exactly how to train the triceps using cable press downs. This is a muscle that most guys are totally incapable of working to its max because they just haven't learnt to isolate and then incorporate my stairway to heavenly gains method, preferring to blindly believe that selecting a huge stack of weights, which they then proceed to fling up and down using their lats with plenty of leg thrusts, will miraculously lead to chiseled triceps. Equally, women who, though they don't get drawn into the ego lifting aspects of training this muscle, need to focus their efforts far more effectively to avoid getting wobbly arm syndrome. Compared to the many other muscles nearby, the tricep is actually relatively weak. Hence, it is vitally important to take a very light weight. Failure to do so will guarantee you won't be able to take this muscle into the debilitation zone, and thus you'll never attain future performance enhancements. It's always better for a muscle to engage with 100% of a smaller weight than to barely come into contact with 10% of a much larger one, as your body shifts the effort away onto bones and other stronger muscle groups. So start with a minimal amount of weight while you learn the evolutionary way to target absolutely all the fibers in the tricep. Next, you have to be aware of the danger points. These are the points at which your body will want to cheat train to its best ability, because its mandate is always to do the most amount of work with the least amount of effort and resources, which, in nature, are notoriously scarce. It does this by creating a fulcrum using your bones and by displacing your body's mass to counterbalance an external heavy object, none of which tear muscle fibers en route to taking them into the all-important debilitation zone. So, as with almost all machines, the very first few centimeters of the movement are crucial to define whether or not you will succeed in this goal. Make sure you never do the following. Yank downwards by momentarily allowing your body mass to fall. Never lean over the bar, which merely allows the force of your body to pour through your arms and press the bar down, when you should be using solely your triceps. Never accelerate rapidly at the start of the pressing action, but begin slowly and maintain a constant pace throughout the positive section of the move. Never rotate your shoulders, even by a small amount that then gets magnified greatly along the length of your arms. That will simply engage the much stronger lat muscles, the ones that we used to use to swing through the trees. Once your elbows are in position, which means as tight as you can to your body, again to avoid the lats taking dominance, they should not move at all. If they do, you're done. There is no way for your tricep to be trained into the debilitation zone. Do not torque twist your wrists at the end of the positive range. That's just adding another muscle and pivot point into the mix. Only bring your hands up to the 12 o'clock mark and then down to almost, but not quite, the 6 o'clock vertical level. Bend your legs slightly so that you cannot easily leg thrust. Make sure no other part of your body is moving, especially at exactly the same point of every repetition. This is the clearest indication your body can give that it is cheat training by using mass displacement like a seesaw rather than pure isolated muscle strength. Finally, take 3 times as long to return the bar to the start position as you took to press it down to its furthest point. If you have the courage to do all the above, you'll find the exercise becomes much harder as only your triceps are being used in full isolation. You'll be breathing heavily right from the very first set because now your tricep muscles will be burning great amounts of oxygen as they fire into action. And after 3 sets, you'll be done. You won't want to go on and spend another 30 minutes cheat training other tricep moves. Your tris will be burning like fuck, and the muscle fibers will be well and truly taken into the debilitation zone. Anyway, let me put my tris where my mouth is and show you exactly what I mean. So, here I am, just about to start tricep cable press. Notice how my upper arm remains fixed and pointing vertically down to the ground. At the start of the set, I'm making minor adjustments to my body position to maximize the burn on my tris. I'm not drooping my mass over the bar, but keeping the energy flow of my body going up and away from my hands, as shown by the blue arrow. See how static my elbows are. I pull them in close to my sides and then keep them in the same position throughout. I'm not rotating my shoulders to engage the lats. And that's 1 set in the bag. See how my body is giving me irrefutable proof that I have intensely worked a muscle, hopefully the triceps. I'm breathing heavily as my lungs fight to replace lost oxygen. The fitter you are, the more you can do, the greater your need to replenish the oxygen in your blood. Having micro-torn so many fibers in my tricep, I must have to lower the weight. Otherwise, I'm guilty of believing less available muscle makes me somehow stronger. That can't be true. From another angle, you can see that my arm, from my shoulder down to the elbow, is being kept stationary and definitely not rotating backwards and forwards. Also, Note where my hands start and stop for each repetition. If I go too low, my body mass can pour directly down the bones of my straightened arms, doing the pressing work that should come from my triceps. And if I go too high, the force of the weight I'm training with escapes through the bones of my forearm. To ensure I keep my body mass out of the equation, see how my head and back draw a line up and away from the bar. 3 sets of that evolutionary tricep workout that takes less than 9 minutes from beginning to end, and I'm done. Plus, because I've actually trained this muscle deep into the debilitation zone, I've also increased my cardiovascular fitness too. If you don't look like this at the end of each of your sets, you've failed to hit the muscle hard and fast. Remember what I always say, if you're not breathing heavily, you've done squat diddly. Now go do the right thing. This is Mountain Jace saying out. Out!